Hi, my name is Lee Calkins, and here we are again in Evanston, Wyoming for the triannual Fremo-N event. And this year we've expanded. We're doing N-TRAK and T-TRAK modules, so it's really an N-scale family event here at Evanston. We've got about 120 people that came in from all over the United States, including Australia and up in the UK as well. They all flew in for this event. So welcome to Evanston as we go around and visit the layouts with the Fremo-N guys, the N-TRAK guys, and the T-TRAK guys. So enjoy.
So we're here at Evanston 2024, called E24. My name is Ryan Wilkerson. I'm from Fair Oaks, California. And I'm here with the module Benny Junction. And it is located in Marysville, California, which is north of Sacramento. And it's a unique railroad feature that it's a crossing of the Southern Pacific and Western Pacific railroads. And they cross right by the river, and it has a levee. And so it has levee gates for any time there's flooding. They can close those. Obviously, the railroad would be closed to save the town. There's a bike trail. We have a cemetery. These are all real features at Benny Junction. Highway 70 goes through, and they've had to think about flooding because the river's right there. So they have a pump house to clear out the road in case that floods. This module is 2 main lines crossing, so we expect lots of trains through here. Last time it would take 100 trains in just a few hours. It's a great feature just to see how busy it can be, and where you can throw all the switches. They're all DCC activated. They have addresses, and it's fun to see kind of everyone coming together and making things happen and getting where they want to go on the layout. All right, here we are at Clark Tunnel, which is in Penryn, California. Northern California. This work is by Robert Tobies. This was his first set of modules in Fremo-N, and one of the best ones, in my opinion. So Clark Tunnel is an unusual feature because it has an aqueduct that flows right over the tunnel, which usually you want to keep water out of tunnels, but the irrigation is used for lots of farms. Mainly in that area is mandarins, so that's a big crop. Mandarin orchard is here, and so a lot of other features. This is kind of like the start of the mountain railroading going up over Donner Pass, so there's quite a bit of curves and elevation change. They got to get thousands of feet elevation from Sacramento, and so we have a feature as a flange lubricator to reduce the wear on the rails, so we have that. We also have another important feature for safety is high wide detectors. So sometimes loads will shift or lumber will, come out, and so they have some wires to, if those get tripped, it'll signal the crew to stop and check the train, and so they can correct that situation before you have a disaster in a tunnel or something like that. This is a 2-piece module. It's considered 2 individual pieces that create one module, and so that's one of the key features of Fremo-N is that you can build something like this that might not fit a normal rectangle or whatever the design is, and you can slice the mountain in half, whatever fits in your storage area. And so these two actually mount together to protect the scenery. They're together facing each other, so it protects all the trees. There's an oak tree over here with a child swinging on it. There's pastures, so there's cows, and they have favorite areas because there's fruit trees, and so they find the shade and find the fruit. And there's a small farmhouse. Did a terrific job on that. And so Fremo-N is really concentration of quality of all the features that you can put into a small space. And some people have large basements, and it's hard to maintain that level of quality for 1,000 square feet. But here, you have maybe a dozen square feet, and you can really focus on all those details and adding it. But then when you add to an event like this, everybody's combining all of their concentrated quality work into a large layout that's thousands and thousands of square footage, and we all get to run our trains that we spend time and money on. to make the best train that we can make prototypically, and you get to run over all this amazing scenery that people have come up with some really amazing ideas, either from different parts of the country or just features where, introducing grades or like a gauntlet track. I think a lot of people are really pushing the limit of like, okay, what can I do that hasn't been done? Maybe a location on the railroad that they've rail fanned that area, they really like that area, it's either a hometown for them. As you can see, we all have a lot of fun getting together, setting up our trains, the camaraderie, learning from each other. It's just an amazing time.
Hello, I'm Jim Longless. I'm the Division Superintendent of Northern Utah in the NMRA. This is my module. I made it 3 years ago when we first had this event here in Evanston. And one of the things was I'd never done the water. I just had painted it, prepped it. I've read a lot about doing water and been to some clinics, but I've never actually done it. And so I was kind of putting myself on hold. And so for 3 years, it just sat without the water, just painted. So a couple weeks ago, I actually did the water. I'm pretty happy about it, but I still have more work that I want to do on it. The main reason this module is called the Provo River Bridge is that I live near Provo, and this bridge right here is actually still there. And it was originally a DNRGW Railroad Pratt Truss Bridge. It was 3 sections built in 1884. It was moved in 1901, and then again in 1919, it was shortened and just 1 section put over the Provo River. Currently, it's still there, and it's a pedestrian walkway. And during lunch, I was able to go up and take a lot of measurements. It's completely scratch built. I have 3D printed parts, brass rod, paper, styrene. I laser etched some bolt heads, and I estimate around 100 hours, give or take. So it was a lot of fun. 3 years ago at the event, one of the fellow modelers said, "Oh, that river scene is perfect." He used to be a river raft guide, and the takeout area is just a mess with tubes everywhere and kind of a chaos. And he said, that's exactly what happens. People do raft the Provo River, but it's upriver quite a ways. So I took some modeling license and brought it closer to the bridge. Same thing with this park area. There's a park near the bridge, but there's a bigger one further up the canyon, and I brought it down here to add more interest to the module. Since I model in NN3, HO, HON3, ON30, and live steam, and collect others, I had to have narrow gauge on this module as well. So the 2 little cars right here are just a display for the park area. This is Provo Canyon, so of course I had to have a cougar for BYU Cougars. Right up in here, there's a cougar overlooking the train. I was a Cub Master and Scout Master for 12 years, so I have a camp scene tucked up here in the mountains. There's also a moose. One time I was in American Fork Canyon, which is a nearby canyon, and I saw this big giant moose. And if you've never seen one in person, I knew they were big, but when you see it in person, they're massive. So I had to have that on here. Recently, the newest MMR in our division, Master Model Railroader, Lowell Titus, I got a mini-me of him, so he's on the layout here, rail fanning as the trains go by.
Hello, I'm DeBob from DeBob's N-Scale Man Cave, and this is Burlington Station. This is actually modeled after Omaha, Nebraska, and it is pretty much prototype to scale of the actual buildings as it is today. But I've kind of adjusted it to a futuristic or different universe where train traffic has come back to the Omaha area, and they had to add in all the extra tracks and so forth. So the Burlington Station is a Walthers module kit that's been kit bashed with another one to make it extended out, because
Their kit only comes with 3 windows wide. I made it 5 like the actual building. And then 3D printed everything else. Everything else on here is 3D printed, that's plastic. The post office annex over here, that is 100% scratch designed and built, measured from the original building and 3D printed. So it's got individual windows inserted in and lights and all the other good stuff on top. The 10th Street Bridge is all lit up. As you can see, all the buildings are all also lit up. And it is about 25 feet long, and it has 8 sections in it, all put together into one giant module. And I can hold 9 tracks of trains. It goes from a Union Pacific main line, and you can also switch over to a BNSF Amtrak line over to the other side. So there's quite a lot of variety in this module's design. And it's prototypical, mostly. It's a little expanded, but hope you enjoyed it.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brett Isaacs. I am an N-scale model railroader from N-Rail. We are part of the T-TRAK standard here at Evanston 24. Off to the side here, you can see T-TRAK modules being displayed. These are modules I have built from my hometown. In the room here, we have 8.1 scale miles of track running on our layout on the red line, which is the outside line of our layout. We have 14 members from all across the country, and we have around 160 modules running right now, and we're running DC and DCC across the layout. We're really excited to be here. This is the first time that T-TRAK has come to this event. Lee decided to expand the event this year and incorporate other standards, and I graciously volunteered to be the T-TRAK coordinator for this event. And it took me about a year, and this is what we came up with, and we're very happy. And it's for those that want to see what we have, it's very impressive. Some very nice modeling, and it's a lot of fun to run on these trains. T-TRAK is a standard for modular railroading. The tracks on the modules are set to a standard which you can find on nrail.org. You build a module, set your tracks down, and then you can connect up to anybody, anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world that is running the same standard. It is in scale, in gauge. They come in various sizes. The small side would be a single, roughly a 1 foot size module. Standard around here is probably doubles. I think we have 36 doubles here in the layout, but we have stuff up to a quad, which is almost 4 feet long. Junctions running in and out, double crossovers in our layout today. But as for the standard itself, it is a 2-track standard, 33 millimeter rail spacing, all interconnected because everybody meets the building standard. If you would like to find more information about T-TRAK, nrail.org, we have all the standards listed there, clubs across the country, international clubs are listed. We have people all over the world, Japan, Europe, you name it. There's people doing this modeling standard for T-TRAK.
Hi, Eric Eggle here again, Sacramento, Silicon Valley, Fremo-N. We're back in Evanston. Last time I was talking to everyone, we went over why not loop and everybody that contributed to making this loop come together as a great module. It's here again in Evanston. But today, what I was going to talk about is something under the bench. We have a need to power all of our modules, right? And one of the things that's quite frustrating is making Y cables out of 12 gauge copper wire and getting that connected in spots where you didn't plan to have to insert power, or you just ended up with the booster was there and you want to connect it. So in order to solve the problem, or try to, I came up with this little circuit board here. What I'm doing is I've managed to configure the connectors on the end to handle both the accessory bus as well as the track bus with the over, under, and the side-by-side. The power comes up from the booster or the breaker here on the stacked pair of Andersons. And then it goes out in each direction. So if you wanted to insert your power in the middle of your module, your sections, you can just do so on either end. And additionally, there's a couple of toggles here so you can have them off if you want to troubleshoot one way or the other, or if you need to change the phase of the wires, going either way. So nice little tight package to do that, and hopefully make life a little easier when we're setting up. We've got 15 to 20 of these in the layout here in Evanston, and they've been working out pretty well, and folks seem to like them. If you're interested in these, you might shoot me an email at ebe@equad.us, I don't quite know what I'm doing with them, but I'm right now sharing the plans and letting folks have a crack at it and maybe put them to good use. So there's your under the bench, Evanston.
Hi, my name's Tom Dahlman. I'm with the Silicon Valley Model Railroad Club. We do Fremo-N, and I am here with our Point Montara modules. These were built by a member of our group named Scott Forrest, and he modeled this after a lighthouse between San Francisco and Santa Cruz on the California coast, which is the Point Montara Lighthouse over here. And there was a railroad that was going to be built between San Francisco and Santa Cruz called the Ocean Shore Line. They got part of it done to this point. They weren't able to finish the rest of it. And so eventually that railroad was abandoned. And this is what that railroad looked like at the time back in the early 1900s. So we have the Point Montara Lighthouse here, which Scott has programmed to flash at the same frequency as the existing lighthouse. And so that's programmed and stored on the module. He also is able to go out there and record the sound of the surf and the seagulls. And he has that sound file saved on the module. And if things are quiet enough, we might be able to pick up on the sound of the surf and the seagulls in the background as the trains go by. So those are two unique characteristics to this module that you don't see very often. And one of the really cool things about this module is that with the sound, it comes to life the way a locomotive comes to life when you give it sound. So when you're standing here, you really feel like you're on the beach in Point Montara with the sound of the waves and the seagulls in the background. It's very cool. So on this part of our model, we have the initial or original trestle that was there back in the early 1900s. That has since been abandoned, and if you were to go out there today, all you would see was this valley coming down to the Point Montara beach. And then in the front here, we have the ocean, and this was really nicely detailed by Scott using a very simple process of painting the plywood, the color of the ocean, and then applying over that a mixture of toilet paper with white glue mixed with water. And then he simply laid that down and pushed it around with a brush to create the waves and the surf that you see all the way along here. So very simple modeling technique. It turned out really beautiful. And then he even created all of the rocks himself to match the rocks that you actually see along that shoreline. So that's our Point Montara module with the Silicon Valley FreeMoN group.
G'day you all, it's Martin here from Down Under. As the guys down under would know, I've got my coffee with me, I'm ready to go. We got an operating session inside. Wasn't far to come, only 7,731 miles from my place to here. And I actually bought some trains to run as well. So I've been running an El Capitan set with a ABBA F7 set.
Hi, I'm Gordy. I'm the president of the NMRA, and this is one of my three 3D printed modules that we've got here at Evanston. This one was ordered custom for the show, for the setup, so it's a 90-degree crossing module. It's all 3D printed with a foam top. There's a couple of reasons for that, but mainly it's because I had to bring this module from the UK. So it actually came over last year to Dallas, to the NMRA convention, stayed out for a year and been touring around so that we could fully test it before we had it as part of this integral setup. So the frame is what's actually 3D printed, and this allows us to have a module that's 75% less in weight than one of the traditional wooden modules that's next to it. But what's really important is that this has to be structurally sound because it's got pressure and force coming from all four sides, which are trying to compress that module. And what would happen if it wasn't appropriately braced is that it would rise up in the middle. So there's some bracing going across to create four triangles underneath. The whole sides, all four sides are 3D printed. And then to stop the 3D printed side from being crushed by the clamps, there's a very small piece of ply. It's only 1 mil thick on the inside just to spread the weight. So yeah, that's the crossing.
Hey, I'm Cameron from Utah. We're up here at Evanston E24, and these are the modules that I brought with me. Not really prototypical of anything, just something that I, wanted and what I thought would look good. I knew I wanted to do a bridge and just some kind of industrial scene. I did build this kit that was kind of a test kit from Joey over at Late Night Hobbies, and did some additional to it. Unfortunately, the power isn't put to it for the accessory bus, but the cars in the building have lights. The building will light up at random times, the lights. But I still have some more work to do on this one. I wasn't happy with the construction equipment. They printed kind of weird when I printed them out. Like the backhoe cabs are deformed a little bit on the front end. But this little switcher was what I had designed for my Motive Power AP certificate. We had the regional convention in Salt Lake last month, and I actually put that in more so just to get it graded to see if I could, get it checked off as part of the AP program. And with it being the region convention as well, it was part of the contest, and it actually won first prize. Didn't expect that, but I think there were about 15 entries into it, so it was kind of cool to have won that without any expectations.
Okay, so it's Gordy again. This is another one of our 3D printed modules. So this is the module from here to here. It's just short of 6 feet long. This was brought over from the UK. It's in 3 sections that bolt together. So you've got the 3D printed frame. This is the side here. It's got cross members and it's got end plates, screws together, and there's leg pockets. The biggest difference between this module and one of the other ones is that you actually adjust the legs here at the height of the module, and they've got floating chambers inside the leg pockets, so you can adjust the legs and you don't need to be on the floor. The reason for that is that the legs are actually plastic conduit rather than metal conduit to save weight, and this whole thing goes together with some foam to protect it into a box that in total, with the legs and the module and all the wiring underneath and a bit of stock, was 36 pounds when they weighed it at the airport. So that can fly with a low-cost carrier. It can definitely fly with someone like Southwest. So this means that it gives you the ability to fly to an event like this rather than saying I've got to drive for 3 days from one coast to the other to come to an event like Evanston. So for me, there's no way I could bring a module without flying with it because I'm not coming by sea. So 3D printing really is the only way to go. So it's just a foam base. All the side is 3D printed. It's not 3D printed in one piece. It's sections that slot together and then are glued. And then again, just like the other module, the end plate's got a very thin piece of ply in the middle where the clamp zone is, where you can clamp it, and it's all supporting with the other modules. So all the legs are really doing, because they're supported by the other modules, is just making sure we don't have any sag. And then, so this is the auto rack yard, and it's all 3D printed.
Hi, Russell Schneider. I'm from the Cincinnati area. The Tri-State N-TRAK Club is our local club, but I'm here in Evanston because it's all about N-scale. So what we're standing in front of here is an N-TRAK, and basically it's a 2 foot by 4 foot module. It is designed to have ends to plug in with other modules of the same type, same standard. All the standards are published, and it's very easy to build a module, connect it to all the other modules in the planet, and be able to create a very large layout for long trains or whatever you want to run.
Hi, I'm Tim Fitzgerald. I'm the president of the Denver Area N-Scale Club. We call it D-TRAK, which is D-E-N-T-R-A-K, and that's a spin-off of the N-TRAK group, which is a countrywide organization as well as a worldwide organization. And we're here at E24. We've been invited for the first time, and we are super excited about being here. We set up a layout here, which is about 30 by 60 which is about 6 scale miles, and we're having a great time here. Most of us here are from the Denver area, and I've been in N-scale for 56 years. I started when I was 12 years old, so I'll let you do the math, but I've been doing this a long time, and this is probably one of the best events I've ever been at. My setup here at the show is these 4 modules here. They're 4 feet long, so at 16 feet of switching space. I like to do a lot of switching with industries and my intermodal yard, and this actual crane back here does move up and down, so that's a big plus at the shows. All the kids like seeing it go up and down and load the containers, so that's pretty cool. Each of us brought anywhere from 4 feet to 20 feet of modules here, and there's about 10 of us that set up this show today, so we obviously don't have room for something like this in our basement, so when we all get together like this, it really is a group activity, and it's really a great opportunity to run long trains. We sometimes run 100-car trains here on all 3 lines, so it looks like big 3 long boa constrictor snakes at sometimes, so that's kind of cool. So, and if you'd like to know more information, please check out our website at denvernscale.org.
This event has been put on by a new NMRA, 100% NMRA club called NEG, which is the N-Scale Events Group. We're working on putting on more events in the future. Our website is going to be nscalemeet.info, and you can find us there. So I hope you've enjoyed our trip to Evanston in 2024. We will be back here in 2027, hopefully with a great N-TRAK and T-TRAK layouts and another great FreeMoN layout. So thanks for watching. Well, who's Lee? The guy in the spinny hat.